Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy. Ta-da! The solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, east of California, west of the Atlantic Ocean. My name's Brian Engelman.
I'm Blake Walley.
And today is Tuesday, September 19, 2023. This is the Agree to Disagree show. We can agree to disagree, and we'll put questions up there, and we will ask you, do you agree or disagree with the statement with the question mark at the end of it? And so the topics we're going to talk about today are the following. Who is the most responsible for January 6th? Is it Ray Epps? Is it Nancy Pelosi? I'm sorry, it must be Donald John Trump, right? Right. The guy who asked for the National Guard help repeatedly and was denied. Yeah, I'm sure that's the guy you'd blame. Okay. Peacefully and patriotically. All right. Also, we're going to discuss Russell Brand. Is he getting unfairly targeted in a coordinated attack? There's a lot of syllables in that one. Getting unfairly targeted in a coordinated attack. Right, Blake? That's a lot of.
I made that. I was probably in a hurry trying to scramble it together.
Nothing wrong with it. It's just getting unfairly targeted in a coordinated attack. It's very staccato. It's
See, I just wrote it. I didn't have to say it.
Yeah, and this is usually the first time I say these or first time I read them. I just copy and paste. But also, we're going to talk about Lauren Boebert. Like, what's that? Oh, yeah.
You go through the rehearsal with the producer. Make sure you're pronunciating everything correctly.
I think they're true. I think they would correct where you said pronunciating. I don't know if that's exactly a word or not, but enunciating. Pronunciating, it should be a word. If it's not,
right, isn't it?
Yes, I love the combined. I love putting two words together into making a brand new word. I forget the word for that. There is a word for it, and Harry Mack did a rap about it. I forget what it's called. If anyone knows, put it in the comments. What is it when you take two different words and combine them into another word? What is the name for that? Maybe Blake could do a search while I read the rest of it.
I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. But also, we're going to talk about Lauren Boebert. Should she not have apologized? And I hope Blake has the video so we can put it on repeat while we discuss the story and get out of the way and just take a look at that. By the way, who the heck knew? Who the heck knew you're getting creeped on in the movie theater? Man, I'm going to have to start changing my antics in the movie theater immediately. By the way, how many people have access to, they talk about CP, right? You can't even say the phrase like with kids and stuff on videos, bad stuff. What do you think's happening in theaters? Alanis Morissette didn't invent it. She was just telling you what was already happening in the movie theaters. What kind of cache of material do you think these creeps have? I had no idea that you're being watched like this until you saw the Lauren Boebert hit piece video. So we're going to talk about that. Also, we're going to ask about X. That's known as Twitter if you're an old school cat like myself. And I felt like they should have always kept the text component of Twitter to just be Twitter. And if they want to make X, make Twitter a component of X and just kind of integrate them. I don't think deleting them was smart. Reposting, nobody says repost. Every time you say X, you say it with a cringe and a furrowed brow. Like, why the hell do I have to say X? It's a tweet. It's a tweet, darn you. It's a tweet. But here's the question. If people pay for X, it will no longer be a platform for free speech. Is that something you agree with or disagree with? How do you I mean, free, you would figure that you don't pay for something free, but I don't know. It's 2023 and people tell me that dudes can have babies. I mean, I've heard it all at this point. Additionally, we're going to ask about this, leftists and their open border policies, also including police defunding strategies. Have these backfired or have they been rip-roaring successes across America? We'll let you decide. By the way, Blake, I did tweet something. I said it. I reposted something about something Joe Biden said with Mayorkas sitting behind him. I don't know if you had a chance to see that or not. And I feel like I did see this. He talks about how, I'll pull it up. I'll make sure I pull it up. But yeah, we're going to talk about that with these open borders and how in this video it shows Biden and Mayorkas talking about replacing white people and white people being the minority. And that's a good thing because diversity is our strength. And it's like you can see Barack Hussein Obama's hand up Joe Biden's backside, puppeting him as he's saying these things. It's astonishing.
Well, Obama's left-handed, so maybe he's got his left hand up Mayorkas's butt. Yes, do both. A real,
A real what?
A real puppeteer can ambidextrous. Yes.
Yeah, like how Danny Carey can play different beats with his feet and with his hands in Tool. Yes, he can make them say different things. But yeah, that's an astonishing clip. It's almost too unbelievable to be true, but we're going to talk about that. Also, COVID symptoms, are they too mild to consider locking the entire country down? I mean, why should we ever delay locking the entire country down? Shouldn't we do that once a year, at least once every election season, right? By the way, for medical claims and political implications thereof, go ahead and check out Countervailing Views for all the J6 related stuff. Go to cisa.gov/rumor control. Spell it the American way, not the British way. RUMOR. In Great Britannia, I believe they spell it RUMOUR because they're weirdos over there, which is why we had to fight for our independence because they can't spell shit right. Also, go to the WHO website, who.int and cdc.gov for all of those medical issues, especially cdc.gov/vaccine, because they want you to know what their lobbyists have approved for speech that you're supposed to consider. Our stuff, you need countervailing views to, because it might be medical disinformation, but trust them. They know everything about everything. Even though nobody does, they do. You know, that's how it goes. So read the ticker that we keep at the bottom of the screen, because under duress, we have to blink twice if you're being forced to do something against your will. There you go. That was two. Okay. Yeah. We're also going to talk about Fetterman. Should it be cool to dress like a slob? I don't know. I kind of embrace that. We were discussing with Blake his Thought Criminal shirt there. Blake always has good political shirts on. We don't spend enough time discussing those, but yeah, since we'll be fashion forward today, we can talk about Blake, I want your Mount Rushmore of t-shirts. If you can think to your Mount Rushmore of t-shirts when we get to the Fetterman segment.
I know I have to look them up. Yeah. I don't even have with me anymore.
I know. I feel like in Los Angeles, we donated a shit ton of them as well. There are probably some that have gone by the wayside. Really nice shirts.
Yeah.
But Blake likes t-shirts with like a message to them. So if you, in the back of your mind, try to think of your favorite 5 that you've ever worn. What was that? T-Mobile? You had your fave 5 and you had it on your phone, or there's like back with Dwayne Wade when he was endorsing them. Anyway, So we'll talk about that when we bring up John Fetterman. And then we're going to talk about, I don't know, just the F-35 goes missing and then it's not missing. And it's just what happened and how long was it completely off the radar? Nobody knew where it was. They're asking everyone else, hey, if you've seen, I don't know, an F-35 laying around, could you please let us know? We seem to have misplaced it. Hey, dude, where's my F-35? So all these stories and more will be on today's episode of the Agree to Disagree show. Follow Blake. He's on X or Twitter. He's at TV's Blake Walley. Check out his homepage. That would be thenextlevelnews.com. Our stuff is The New American Media, so we're in all the places. youtube.com/The New American Media, Spotify, The Agree to Disagree show, look that up. rumble.com/The New American Media. On X, we are at American_media_. On Truth Social, we are The New American Media. Blake, did you get your Truth Social account back up yet? I know we were discussing possibly getting you onto Truth.
It is up. I hadn't used it in over a year, turns out, because it kept getting locked out and there was no service. Nobody seemed to care. I was a beta tester and it just felt like I was a second class, fifth class citizen. So I was just being ignored and it was just like, forget it. Why am I going to bother using this thing if there's not doing anything? I'm not getting any traction, and I don't want to be in an echo chamber, but that was a backup to Twitter just in case Elon didn't buy it and we were going to be stuck with the regime, the crazy leftists that were running it and shadow banning everybody. And there wasn't much hope on there. I wasn't really getting any traction there either. Even though I had a few thousand followers, I couldn't get anything seen. It was like not having any impact and just tweeting into a vacuum. So yeah, but then Truth kind of disappointed me. And then, anyway, things have changed. I'll see if I use it. I still didn't find it that user-friendly, but perhaps I will play with it.
Yeah, we are trying to get on all the platforms. We're also Instagram.com. Go there and look the new American Media. That's always a good one for our dankest memes. But we're talking about alternate platforms. We're seeing that Russell Brand is getting his monetization removed by YouTube. He's not guilty of anything right now. He's been accused of things. Last I checked, we have civil rights and we're innocent unless proven guilty, not until, because that assumes that you will eventually be proven guilty, unless it's innocent unless proven guilty. So with Russell Brand going down, and we know we're entering an election season, it's more important than ever. You go on some of the alternative sites. We're on Signal, the New American Media, on Telegram. Look us up. We're TNAM, because that's the New American Media, TNAM. We're also on TNAM Chat, TNAM Chat. So those are the two places on Telegram that we are, as well as Truth Social. So yeah, we're making sure that we're on Rumble, Truth Social, Signal, Telegram, all the secondary, all the minor league teams, all of the mid-level major conferences. We're not the Big Ten, but we're we're the MAC. We're Division I. We're respectable-ish. But yeah, we're just trying to get our presence onto those sites so that we can communicate with you regardless. And our flagship page is thenewamericanmedia.com. Definitely have some plans to revamp that in the moments ahead in the next couple of months. So really excited for everything. We are going to welcome you into today's show. Hello, Katie Cat. Whose RB is targeted? I don't know. Pelosi and
Russell Brand.
Oh yeah, Russell Brand. Perfect, of course. Yes. Dreamer, howdy Dreamer, and everybody else, please leave your comments, because we do try to read them in real time and incorporate your input into the show whenever possible. It's one of my favorite parts about this experience. So without further delay, here's the intro to our show, and then we're going to kick things off. All right. Wow. It's like the greatest hits album. Ain't that something?
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
It really has. It's been a fun ride, Blake. It's been interesting that we've coordinated the way that we have, and that we've just gone on this journey. We're all doing our thing anyway. You might as well partner up from time to time with people that seem to at least understand where you're going. So, yes.
All right, top shirt. Buy the ticket, take the ride. There you go.
That's your number one shirt. Okay, well,
not number one. It's one of the top.
Buy the ticket, take the ride. Well, okay, hold that for when we bring up John. What's his name? Fetterman. What's his first name?
John. Yep.
Okay, I just say John. It didn't sound right rolling off of my tongue, but
Senator Fetterman.
That sounds worse. That sounds completely unbelievable. As unbelievable as Joseph Robinette Biden being the most popular president in American history. Yeah, no. There we go. So good. We're now streaming over here, and today's first topic is Nancy Pelosi. Blake, is she the person who is most responsible for J6? Nancy Pelosi is the person most responsible for J6, not Donald Trump. Agree or disagree?
I am going to agree. It seems that if she could have changed one thing about January 6th, if she could have just called the National Guard, I think that's the theory, then nothing would have ever happened, because nobody would have even come close to the Capitol. She had all those troops ready, and it seemed like, they wanted something bad to happen that they could use against Trump and his supporters, demonize us, and so far it's worked well. And then, of course, bury the evidence and not let anybody see it, and then run a big offensive an investigation going after everybody and dragging things out, and they'll try to keep Trump off the ballot. So let's see. That's right. This is a two-step process now to get this story up. So here we go. Pelosi refusing to hand over communications. Also, Democrats destroyed evidence from the committee, refused to call in the National Guard, and don't forget, Pelosi had her daughter hired a camera crew to follow her around that day. So Sunday, I guess President Trump sat down for an interview with Kristen Welker from NBC's Meet the Press. And yeah, there was a big liberal meltdown. Oh, why would they ever have him on there? He's insurrectionist. Why would they even say anything? Let him speak anywhere. It's insane. But anyway, Trump argued that Nancy Pelosi is responsible. Nancy Pelosi was in charge of security. She turned down 10,000 soldiers. If she didn't turn down those soldiers, you wouldn't have had January 6th. And yes, I would agree with that. So,
Blake, I would ask you a question. I would ask a question real quick.
Yeah.
Are we talking about dog-faced pony soldiers?
Perhaps.
Okay. Just making sure.
According to Robinette's, yes. So nobody would have been close to the Capitol. It just would have been a peaceful march over, and then hoping that Pence does something that people were expecting, maybe change the results that people were questioned about. But nothing happened. Instead, there were agitators, and there was a shit show, and some rioters, and some bad actors, and yeah, it was a historic day for many wrong reasons. And yeah, we could say front and center, Nancy Pelosi, who could have prevented the entire thing with one phone call, but she did not. So yes, agree.
It's Blake, it's almost as if it was a setup from the beginning. Almost as if.
Yeah.
What was that story that came out last week that Mitt Romney and Mitch McConnell were talking about? Like everybody knew what was going to happen. It was all a setup. They all knew. Did you happen to see that story from last week? I don't have it in front of me, but it got leaked that they had conversations and like they specifically discussed the Capitol getting overtaken and all of it. They were concerned about it. They knew exactly.
Right. Yeah, they knew what they were in store for. I don't know how they expected it to just play out. And all it takes is a few bad people amongst a million or so that were there, or at least it seemed like it was.
Well, let me ask one more thing then. What is going on with McCarthy? He promised to release the January 6th footage. And then Nancy Pelosi, they did all their investigation and she threw it all away. She's allowed to do that. Where are the repercussions? That's criminal. Like, what are they hiding? They're hiding the extent to their own people that were dressed as Trump supporters and breaking windows and opening doors, opening gates, going through police barricades, setting it up. Like, this was all a staged job. It was mostly staged. I mean, they lied about that shaman for how many years? Tucker releases a couple of seconds of footage. He's instantly remanded to he gets released on his own recognizance. Maybe he has to wear an ankle bracelet, but it's better than jail. It's like he's in there, he's praying for the cops and he's being nice. And like, there was no insurrection. There never was. We all knew there never was an insurrection. This was all a setup. So like, is that what Kevin McCarthy is doing? And if he's working for the deep state, why is he still pretending to be a Republican? If he's pretending to be a Republican and it's obvious that he's not, why hasn't he been removed yet? Is Matt Gaetz the only one who's going to stand up and call him out for this? Or is there anybody else in government that's willing to? Was Lauren Boebert willing to until she got framed? We'll talk about that a little bit later. Did she get liquored up by her date and fondled by her date and then shamed all over TV for going, like the Alanis Morissette song? Not quite that level, but I mean, she looked, anyway, she was dressed up. She was having a good time that night. But it sure seems like a lot of people are getting set up, whether it's Russell Brand or Lauren Boebert or Donald John Trump. It seems like almost everything. Jussie Smollett, the Covington kid. God, there's 100 more of these. Bubba Wallace.
Yeah.
They're all fake stories. They're all setups. They're all just trying to pin the tail on somebody else. Blake.
Always.
So what is going on with that footage? I that was a long question and I got away from the point, but what is going on with McCarthy and Gaetz? And
well, he was always
why are they hiding
deep state,
that?
Yeah, well, no, he was always a deep state swamp creature. That's why they took so long to vote him in. Was it 14 votes or 15? Just announce who the speaker was, and they had to make deals and concessions and put him on a short leash and say that he's got to do what they want him to, or he's going to be removed. And so they did, because they didn't trust him, that we shouldn't, even though the establishment people, were freaking out about it. But and they've kind of discredited, MTG or Boebert. They really threw Gaetz over the coals. And Gaetz is the only one standing up, but now it appears that he wants to run for Florida governor. Like, he's going to get out of there. I wouldn't blame him. So it's just, you can't get anything done in Washington. So I don't know. It would have been nice for him to release some footage. It's just a couple of isolated outlets. Sure, they gave it to, Tucker Carlson, but then they just fired him off Fox News and then just buried it.
Their number one show. You don't get rid of number one. You don't just drop your MVP. You don't do that. You don't do that. That was shady AF from the beginning, Blake.
It's not like they even traded him for, a first rounder and some, money, some draft picks. No. So
I'm having a very difficult Tuesday after Nick Chubb suffered what could be a career-ending injury yesterday on a dirty hit by Minkah Fitzpatrick on the dirty, rotten Pittsburgh Steelers. Those dirty players. I don't know. I'm going to try to.
The Minkah thing, that was dirty. That was awful to see that. I don't know if he's going to get fined or what, but that was gruesome. And I know, because I've seen it as a Viking fan. I thought the Dante Culpepper injury was the worst I had ever seen. But last night, Chubb, that was a heartbreaker. It was awful to see that. You don't want you just don't. It's bad Monday night streak too. It's Aaron Rodgers. It's DeMar Hamlin. I think Kyle Becker put out that tweet. Like, it's like the Monday night football seems like it's cursed.
Horrific. I love those new uniforms from the Browns. Those all white uniforms with the dash of color. I thought they looked awesome, but now I feel like they're cursed. Yeah, Nick Chubb is an MVP candidate. He's a quiet guy. He's a hard worker. He's exactly what you would like 52 men or 53 men on your roster to be exactly like. Just brutal. But they said about that, Blake, Nate Burleson, he used to play on the Lions as a wide receiver. He played for I think his last
Vikings,
season.
Seahawks. Yeah.
He played one season on the Browns. And then there's Ryan Clark, who's another ESPN analyst. He used to play on the Steelers. And Ryan Clark was like, well, you can't call him dirty and blah, blah. And Nate Burleson went through this point by point. He's like, no, man, because of this. You're wrong. And then finally he goes, would you aim at a teammate's knee like that in practice? If not, then that's a dirty play. So I've called on Commissioner Goodell to indefinitely suspend Minkah Fitzpatrick for the entirety. And I mean, indefinite until or unless Nick Chubb returns back to the NFL field. There's no room in the game of football for headhunters like that, for people that are out to ruin entire careers. It's reckless at best, and it's targeted. There's a fraternity among football players. When you're trying to end somebody's career, your career needs to end. Eye for an eye. So I'm calling on Roger Goodell to indefinitely suspend him until or unless Nick Chubb takes the field again. That Minkah Fitzpatrick should not step on the field again. So that's my thoughts there. But I digress.
Definitely get his take on it, because it just looks like he's just like a missile aiming low, and they want to hit him low. Obviously he's not going to hit him high, but that was just that just seemed wrong. And so I'm definitely suspicious of that. I know he's a hard man to tackle, but you can't just go after a guy's knees like that. It looks like Deion Sanders trying to make an open field tackle back in the day, trying to tackle a running back, and he just kind of almost try to trip somebody because there's no way you're gonna take him down. But there's a reason why they don't do that, or they're not allowed to do that.
So here's what it was, and we'll move off the topic. It was just it was so brutal, and I'm such a Cleveland Browns fan. I like this. It's just it's complete gut punch. Ryan Clark put this out on Twitter, and follow us if you're into our sports stuff. It's the Unhappy Hour _ the Unhappy Hour _, and then we'll also cross post when stories are like national stories, because we really are calling for Commissioner Goodell to indefinitely suspend Minkah Fitzpatrick. Follow us at American _media_. So Ryan Clark, formerly of the Steelers, says, and I'll pull this up on the screen, but I just don't have it. It's not set up that way. He says, if a defender goes high and a player gets concussed, he's dirty. If a defender goes low and a player gets a lower extremity injury, he's dirty. Where can he hit a runner then, y'all? I mean, sheesh. The growing softness of this game and the sensitivity of those who watch it saddens me. So aside from my double barrels at this guy, I just want to thank Nate Burleson, at Nate Burleson on X. He says, Ryan Clark, I love you like a brother, so I mean this with all due respect. You are wrong on this one, fam. The reason there is outrage about that hit on Chubb isn't about the game or its fans getting soft. The problem is Minkah, who is a veteran defensive back who torpedoed at Chubb's leg while he was already being taken down by a defender. If your response is, he didn't know Chubb was already being tackled, well, pick your head up. If your response is, he didn't want to go high, well, aim for the multiple areas above the knee and below the head and hip, like hip, ribs, or shoulder. If you say Chubb is a power back, so it takes multiple guys to bring him down, fine. But let's apply the same chop block rules like we do to offensive linemen in the trenches. For me, it's one of two things: malicious or a weak attempt at tackling someone. I don't know Minkah well enough to call him dirty, so I won't. I'll leave all defensive players with this. Would you hit your own teammate like that in a live scrimmage? That's a rhetorical question because the answer should be no. So keep that in mind the next time you think about aiming at someone's knees during a game. Just, he nailed it. I'm very happy that he rocked that one, Blake. Any thoughts on that interaction back and forth and Ryan just trying to justify it? He's like, oh, the fans are soft. The sport is soft. What are we supposed to do?
The sport is not soft. I couldn't imagine going through what those players do on a weekly basis, getting hit like that and then trying to come back. Or trying to recover in a week or 6 days, or maybe you got a Thursday night. They should just get rid of Thursday night games altogether, I think. But you don't want to see that. I love football. It's one of my guilty pleasures. I love watching it. I like betting on it. I used to like playing fantasy. I gave that up because it was taking too much time. But nobody wants to see that, though. That's what I feel. That's where the guilt comes in. It's like, yeah, this is great and all, except for when these guys get concussed or they get serious injuries, or they're in a lifetime of pain, and these warriors are just hobbling around through the rest of their life, so that they could entertain us on Sundays. I just wish there was ways that they could fix that, but there really isn't. They could take more measures. But then, they try to protect the players a little bit more, and then people get outraged. Like it's, oh, they're so soft. Like, are you kidding me? Not too many people could go through that. And
absolute warriors. And the bad, Nick Chubb, they're wondering if his career is done. And he's already had a severe injury on that left knee in 2015 when he played for Georgia. It's just brutal. I love.
Yeah. And it ruined Bo Jackson's career, who was maybe the greatest of all time. And Nick Chubb's actually statistically just right underneath them, yards per carry.
Like 5.6 or something. It's in it. Nick Chubb was right. They showed that graphic yesterday. All-time run. Who was the third running back there? Nick Chubb, Bo Jackson, and
it was Chris. He played for the Titans. super fast guy. He just
Chris Henry?
Was it Chris Henry?
Was it on the Titans?
He played for the Titans.
Are you saying Derrick Henry?
No, not Derrick Henry. Who was before that? I think it was Chris something. I should know this. But he was extremely fast. He was like the fastest guy on the field. So he could just make a big play, and his average per carry was high because nobody could catch him once he got into the open field.
Well, I'm looking up here. Well, maybe this isn't the Jamal Charles,
Jamal Charles, that was it. My bad.
Yeah, that's the Chief.
Charles, okay.
Yeah, Jamal Charles, Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, Gale Sayers. But yeah, in the since whatever, Nick Chubb has been right at the top of that. You couldn't ask for a better teammate or a better guy. It's so brutal. And yes, to Dreamer Ultra, he's noticing. He says, he'll listen to the Unhappy Hour show after this. Yes, please do. I think I do just as good a sports show as anybody else out there. So check that out. I did stream it through this app. It's on youtube.com/The New American Media and youtube.com/The Unhappy Hour. The Unhappy Hour or The Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Either way, check them out. But back to this, Blake. Let's pivot back to what we were talking about here. Nancy Pelosi being most to blame for January 6th. Also, perhaps a lying legacy media being most to blame. Oh, perhaps the 51 intelligence officials who lied to the American public being most to blame for January 6th. Or perhaps the Mark Zuckerberg Dropboxes being most to blame for January 6th. There's a lot of people to blame for January 6th. I think blaming Trump by saying you should make your voices heard peacefully and patriotically, I think that's a far cry from reality. But let's talk about something we did catch on tape, and we do have the information too, even though I'm sure McCarthy and Pelosi would have hid this from us if they had the chance. But Blake, agree or disagree with this one? The Department of Justice applied the right punishment against Ray Epps. Agree or disagree?
I am going to disagree on this one. So breaking news, I guess Ray Epps was finally hit with the punishment, the most obvious instigator, problem causer.
They gave him the Hunter Biden treatment, right? Oh, Blake froze. The problem causer is where we left off on Blake. Yes. I do have some stories if we're going to lose Blake's signal here. I have a few I did have a few pulled up. We did lose Blake. Oh, is he coming back in? Yeah, I heard the beep, the double beep.
Yeah, that's wild.
I guess they don't want us. They don't want us telling this story, do they, Blake?
No, they usually don't. They want to cover this everything up for January 6th. It's a monster cover-up. They have to control the narrative, or they themselves could get in trouble. They don't want the American people to see that this man was front and center for a lot of the problems of January 6th. In fact, that's what he was saying. We have to go inside the Capitol. That's where our problems are. Brian, I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Yeah, I can hear you. You can hear me, right?
Oh, okay. Yep, I can hear you.
So I put up a couple here. This is on the New American Media. Go to American_media_. Charlie Kirk says, not suspicious at all. Nearly 3 years after January 6th, Ray Epps is finally charged, wait for it, with disorderly conduct. You can read that in air quotes because that's insanity. He goes, that's right. The man who yelled for people to storm the Capitol, who was videotaped multiple times actually trying to incite a riot, somehow avoids seditious conspiracy with no terrorism enhancement, while people who never entered the Capitol are rotting away in a DC jail. Call it a gulag. Everything is on the level, folks. You know, I mean, give me a break. They're putting Owen Schroyer there because he was too loud, too close to the Capitol, and you're just going to slap the wrist of Ray Epps with what was it? Disorderly conduct? Blake, come on.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous, and it's funny to see the left actually thinking this is a big deal. Let me see if I can pull one up here.
Oh, hold on, I got a couple more. I'll rock through them.
Okay.
Patriotic Suzanne here. She says, and these are all the tweets at American_media_. Follow us. We need more followers. Share our content. Engage with us. Comment on the stuff that we comment about because that's what the algorithm feeds upon. It feasts upon. Patriotic Suzanne says it's the same as them finally charging Hunter. Both are for show, to pretend they aren't being biased. They will both get a slap on the wrist. Ivan posts here, this punishment does not fit the crime. Here's a little refresher in case some of you forgot. Okay, so here, let me.
Tomorrow, we need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol. What? No! Peacefully. Fed. Tomorrow, I don't even like to say it because I'll be arrested.
Well, let's not say it.
We need to go. I'll say it.
All right.
Go ahead,
we need to go in.
Shut the fuck up, Boomer.
To the Capitol.
He's Fed posting? All right. We need to go into the Capitol. I didn't see that coming. Okay.
Monument Hill.
Stop speaking. We are going to the Capitol, where our problems are. It's that direction.
Here's a refresher.
All right. Okay, but one more thing.
Yeah, so can we go up there? No?
When we go in,
Are we going to get arrested if we
leave
go
this
up there?
here. You don't need to get
Did you
shot.
arrest us all?
Shady. Shady. There you go, Blake. That's the guy who got off with a slap on the wrist. Help me make it make sense.
I'd have to say it looks like he's a federal informant or something. He's a professional provocateur. They're trying to get the crowd agitated, worked up, and I think they're leading them into a trap. Trying to get them into the Capitol, where that they can hopefully get all the Trump supporters, the MAGA people, to trash the place, overrun it, and then they can use that as an excuse to call them insurrectionists, destroy their character, and make sure that Trump never runs it for election again. And there's other parts of Trump, or not Trump, but for Epps, ramming. It's also moving the barricade. It's also another one where he's. Look at that big flag that he's out there. He's trying to ram the ramming police. I mean, he was everywhere that day for all the wrong reasons. Why was he so motivated to do something? Coming all the way from Arizona, trying to commandeer all these young kids to do their bidding. So everyone has been very, very suspicious. And finally, I think people now they're just trying to give them a little misdemeanor, make it look like they're doing something, at least in my opinion. Let's see if I can pull this up here. So Ray Epps finally been charged with 1 count of disorderly conduct and restricted building or grounds. That's it. And then they show, the Ray Epps trying to incite an actual insurrection called up by the press. Probably the same video. Maybe not. But here's another one. Yeah, it's the one I was talking about, where he's we got this big sign, this big Trump sign, and they're pushing it up against the police barricade. But that's Epps. Why is he right there pushing this against the police? If that was anybody else, they would be looking at years in solitary in the DC gulag. But for whatever reason, with all of this evidence, Epps only gets slapped with the misdemeanor. So
well, because of that, you really need to. There needs to be a balancing act. There needs to be a provision of common sense from the Supreme Court or from. I don't know where else it comes from, but like any competent defense attorney has to be able to say, look, if this guy was involved in all of this and he gets slapped with a warning, you have to slap the other guys with warnings. Anytime you can uncover one incident where there was one person that was given a sweetheart deal, or that they were undercover and they were provoking it and they were insurgents of their own working for the deep state to try to frame President Trump from the beginning, that has to be the get out of jail free card for the rest of the people. You can't throw some people into the DC gulag for years without a trial while this guy's getting nothing. Oh, he's been indicted for disorderly conduct. That's nothing. That is literally nothing. So you have to be able to use this as a get out of jail free card, Blake. I mean, if there's not equality in the punishments, there is no equality. There is no justice.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. That they should be able to throw these other cases out, or say, hey, if my client walked into a building, had no idea it was restricted, didn't do anything. We were just looking at this picture here. If Stephen Horn, he was one of those guys. He's a independent journalist, and he was just minding his own business, walking in, filming. Had no idea what was happening, and he got caught up in it, and he's going to be potentially into a lot of trouble. He's already gone through a trial, and so he's calling this out. Why does Stephen Horn have to go to jail for who knows what they're going to convict him with? Or these innocent grandmas or what have you. We saw a lot of the people inside. They weren't doing anything, just walking around peacefully.
And by the way, they insurrected in Kevin McCarthy's office the other day. They've insurrected at the Capitol on previous occasions. They've insurrected at the state houses in Wisconsin. They've insurrected at going into the places where the elected officials are and causing a bit of a ruckus without firing shots kind of has a slap on the wrist type vibe to it. Except this one case. It's if there's no equality in the punishments, then there is no justice in that system, and that needs to change. Blake, what is the name of that project that some of our footage got used in? I know some of our footage got licensed out. That was with Laura, not Linney, not Loomer, Laura Logan.
Yeah, Lara Logan. Yeah, she's great. She's with Sovereign, Truth and Media, Ben Swan's outfit. They're doing a series on January 6th. And they did a great one last Thursday. I think they're going to have another one, or part 2, this Thursday.
Did they use any of our footage in the last one? I didn't watch the piece yet.
Oh, really?
Because they used it on the in the advertisement for it in the trailer. Our footage. Right. I counted maybe 3 to 5 different snapshots of our footage. Did they end up using it in the first piece?
Yeah, as far as I can tell, I thought that was. Yeah, I thought you knew that.
Yeah, like I said, I saw the trailer. I didn't watch the whole sit down.
Yeah, it was like a 20-minute piece, and it was about one of the guys that was there who had a great life, nice job, about to get married, and he committed suicide because his life was destroyed, and he was afraid of getting thrown into a dungeon for the rest of his life. And being, smeared as some sort of insurrectionist. It's an awful, tragic story. And so, yeah, Lara Logan did a great job showing that, or at least, part 1. And then we'll see what happens after that. But no, it's back and forth. And here's one of your favorite journalists, Brian Krasenstein.
He's not a journalist. He's a deep state asset. He's a hack. He's a sock puppet. He's a propagandist for globalism. What does this little man have to say?
Well, he says that the Ray Epps, the man who conspiracy theorists and the right claimed.
By the way, anytime you read the word conspiracy theorist, you know that the person is about to feed you a lie. That works about 100% of the time. But please continue his thought. I'm sorry, I just had to pause it there.
Right. Okay. So let me get to the full. Okay.
Yes, I'll shut up this time. Sorry.
Okay. Ray Epps, the man who the conspiracy theorists on the right claimed was working for the government on January 6th, since he had not been charged, has just been charged with disorderly conduct. Now the same people are claiming that since he was only indicted on 1 count, that he still must work for the government. They fail to realize that there have been hundreds and hundreds of people indicted for their actions on that day, and many of them were charged with single counts. Yet another right-wing conspiracy theory proven wrong. But then, I called him out and said, is this another right-wing conspiracy theory proven wrong? Looks to me like they decided to slap Ray Epps with a mild misdemeanor to make it look like they're trying to be fair. However, this only reaffirms suspicions that he is a Fed. So I'm going to stick to my story.
Blake, so this interaction here with Krasenstein, could this one page be one page of your book? I know you've talked about going back and getting like a highlight of your, your Spitfire tweeting days, but like, what about when you instantly shut somebody down and prove them to be like complete propagandists? Could this be one whole page of your book, your soon to be published book? When is that set for release? Christmas?
The art of, trolling and roasting your political opponents on Twitter or X. Yeah, I probably could. I've said some just vicious stuff. But a lot of it was very well deserved. So usually
this
people
could be a page in your new book. I think this clapback, you exist on Twitter to set the record straight. Yeah, Blake's amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, or I don't know, Blake Walley and the art of Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance. I don't know. We got to find a way to like use a clever title and work it into like trolling and something, but
sure. But yeah, most of these people, they just ignore me. It's very rare that somebody actually says something back. Usually they know they got burned and it's not and then I'm a formidable opponent. And it's probably best for them to just ignore it and move on. But the thing that sucks is when I get blocked or muted or whatever, and it really hurts my score apparently, and keeps me shadow banned. Now I have to troll people. This is the way I have to troll people now up front. Usually it's funny because I actually try to be like stealthy about it. I try to be you just respond like a reply guy and just try to shame them where people aren't going to see it so much. But then they hide all my responses under my more replies, so people don't see them. So this is the only way I can troll now, is by putting it on full display. But it's good fun. So.
And I've pretty much always been astonished to find that so few of my comments get any notice. I for the life of me, I don't understand why what I post is any different or less than what anybody else posts and gets all sorts of engagement with. I've never understood it. Other than nobody's really seeing my account. But I had one breakthrough recently. Like, I rarely get any sort of feedback worth mentioning, but on this one I did. Let me see if I can click this, if it'll show me. But this was about Matt Gaetz. What we're going to talk about him a little bit later, but we were just talking about McCarthy and who's most to blame. This was Benny Johnson with a flamethrower speech just made by Matt Gaetz about Speaker McCarthy. So that's what the gist of this was. And I comment on stuff. I roll around and I post comments everywhere. What do they say? Frank's Red Hot. I put that shit on everything. It's like I put my comments everywhere. So on this Benny Johnson one, I was like, Gaetz for Speaker. Where are the full J6 tapes? Why is Mayorkas not indicted and jailed for treason? Why is Biden not impeached for treason? Enough is enough. 1,185 likes. I rarely get any sort of interaction. Some people, they tell you, I'm having coffee for breakfast. Oh my gosh, 300,000 likes and 1 million retweets. You're like, this is the most ridiculous shit ever. I really don't understand why some people get attention on social media and why others don't. But first time in a long time, 1,100 people were like, all right, yeah, I like that. Yeah, most of what I say is something most people would click like on, but they never do, or they do, and I never get to see it. And I'm living in this world where it's like, well, all these brilliant takes of yours, they must not be that brilliant because they're not succeeding. And it's like, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm not good. Maybe there's no point to me continuing this media endeavor. Maybe all this hassle isn't worth it. All the juice or all the squeeze wasn't worth the juice. I don't know. Maybe I'll just leave this stuff to the professionals. And that's what they want. Yeah. They want you to doubt yourself. They want you to think that you're not contributing anything valuable. And it really does, Blake, make me question anybody who is successful in this space and maintains an aura of individuality and independence. Are they really, or are they playing the role of the independent journalist a little better while they're getting paid to make sure they keep kind of going in a certain direction on certain topics to sway? They got to give you 9 out of 10 right in order to push one particular issue that they're completely wrong about. And they've kind of figured out you can't just be a Keith Olbermann. You can't just be a Rachel Maddow, like a walking joke. As soon as you see them, as soon as you hear them, you go, whatever's about to come out of their mouth next has got to be trash. And you're right 98% of the time without even knowing where they're going with it. But I really do kind of question, and I'm not saying like Benny Johnson in particular. I'm not saying Luke Radowski, or I'm not saying Tim Pool or Anomaly, or you could put a 1,000 people in there that pull in big numbers. It's not any one person in particular. It's just anyone in particular that has mammoth numbers in the independent space. How are they breaking the algorithm? How are they getting through where all the doors are locked? What key do they have? What key do they have? I don't quite something like there's something, and I can't quite put my finger on it. Have you thought about this?
I've spent a lot of time thinking about this stuff over the years because I've been in similar situations, like trying to figure out what's going on. And my issue is I don't know who to blame, or whether it's just, the leftists are going to censor me, or whether, the big tech is going to censor me, or am I being shunned by the right-wing media, or shunned by the people I thought were, should be my allies, who seem to not do anything or care about that either. So I don't know. It's never seemed to be much of a team effort to me. And or just even to have, to be able to network with some of these people and try to figure that stuff out. It's just, for me, it's just like shun silence. And that's the most frustrating part of it. Tell me you don't like me, tell me, hey, I hate your journalism, dude. That's why I don't, give you any mind. But they just said they don't do anything. And then I'm just sitting here psychologically torturing myself, trying to figure out, what did I do? Or am I doing anything wrong? Or how do I approach this? Or what do I do now? And there's just nobody there to help. That's the worst part to me. It's not I expect to be censored and have, to be banned or what have you. My issue a lot of times is with the people that are our supposed allies that sit around and do nothing. We could quietly be drowning in the background asking for help, and nothing happens. So it's like, it's sad watching, some of the other, like the leftist media that always is in lockstep, with their own, all on a team. And then, we're a little bit different here. And the independent media or conservative circles, it's a lot of egos, a lot of alphas, and a lot of, different points of view, which is good in certain ways. And it also makes us, ineffective in many other ways. So.
Yeah. I said this on my sports show. I was making an analogy about Kevin Stefanski, the Browns head coach. And I was saying that, let me set that analogy aside, but I brought up on my earlier show today on the Unhappy Hour. It was just like the Democrats and the lying legacy media, to a much lesser degree, the Republicans and libertarians. The Republicans and libertarians fight with each other and tear themselves apart. They should have united behind Trump and said, we think he got robbed out of the last election, regardless, however you think it was a machine doing it, or drop boxes, or these 6 states that all paused, wink, wink, in the middle of the night. Either way, we want to retake the White House and get this going. The Democrats always repeat their same lies. They will find the script, and just everybody is they're rowing in the same direction. Republicans and libertarians, they're fighting each other. Like you said, they're alphas. Well, they're all trying to get their own, and there's no cohesion. Like the cycle of a train, the gears on the track, spinning all the wheels in the right direction, all the oars of the boat taking the Viking ship out yonder. The Republicans, and they just spin around in circles, fighting each other, circle jerking over, no, I'm morally superior than that. I could never vote for a lesser candidate until they meet all of my purity tests. Therefore, no one will ever get my vote. Therefore, I will let Democrats take this position because I couldn't find a perfect libertarian worthy of these people are some of the worst. I can't stand it. I get that there's levels of evil and right and wrong, and if they're both wrong, why would I pick something that's wrong? It's like, I don't know, because Democrats are like wrong in a very dangerous way on 95 out of 100 things that they think are important. Well, I'm raising daughters. I'm trying to set an example. Okay, so shouldn't you try to block some of the craziness from the Democrats? At least some of the craziness, and take a couple of wins? Or no, you're fine with four years of losses because Trump isn't perfect in your view. Yeah, well, nobody's been perfect in the history of politics. But, that's the thing that, going in the same direction. Independent media is interesting. And as far as, why are we not hitting different numbers? We are shadow banned. We are demonetized. We've been hidden. We've been deleted by Facebook. No cause, no opportunity to remedy any alleged issue. All the things you could imagine, we've dealt with it. But also in sales, an industry I've worked in, my family's worked in for a while, and I've picked up on a couple of things. I keep track of every account that I've ever called. When I'm working in that world, Tuesday, 091923 at 4:05 p.m. called such and such, left a message. And I go through my notes and I can see every time I've thrown darts. I haven't hit the right number. They haven't responded. They haven't said anything. It's like, tell me you love me. Tell me you hate me, my gonzo journalism. It's like, okay, well, tell me you don't want to use me. Tell me you're already using a competitor. Tell me that you're not interested in the product. Just answer the phone, respond to one email, something. But sometimes it takes 10 times, 15 times, 20 times. The point is, I just always have to assume in my mind, because I'm not saying that successful independent media are not actually independent and that they're not part of a deep state controlled system. I'm not saying they are. But I am saying that if we're not getting responses, sometimes maybe they're just not seeing it. Maybe they're just busy. Yeah. Maybe they just have other stuff going on and we're not in the orbit. We haven't offered them something of value first, and then they just didn't feel like hitting the tennis ball back that we keep hitting over the other side of the. It's like, hey, you want to play? They're like, I'm working on shit, kid. It's like, all right. But it's like, just tell me that on the phone. It'll take 10 seconds. Let me shoot you follow. Yeah. We'll go from there. Like
InfoWars would be a great thing because that tortured me for years. Like they, published a couple of my things, and that's great. That was very, very helpful. But then it was just like, for some reason, like maybe I was shunned or I did something wrong or what have you. And, I don't care if they don't want to hire me or something. Can you just say, hey, dude, no thanks, but no thanks. Keep up the great work. You're doing great. You're going to be fine on your own. You don't need us. And, that would have been awful to be there. That would have been a terrible fit to work in a place in an environment like that, even though it would give me access. But yeah, really, if I sent you 40 emails over 5-6 years, you can't one time just end my psychological torture by just acknowledging me hey, Blake, yeah, we do. We pay attention to your stuff. You're doing great, but you're just not a great fit for us. That would have been awesome. That would have saved me. I don't know how much, just trying to figure out, I'm just trying to network and trying to make a difference somewhere and saying, hey, I'm a smart guy. I've been researching this stuff for 20 years. I could probably be a valuable asset working for somebody or being a part of that or being able to have a network of people that I can contact instead of I'm always on the outside trying to reach in. And it's like, yeah, it's been a very awful. It has not been a pleasant experience. We'll say that. It's not gone the way I thought it would. But here we are still trying to fight in the information war. But it's been an uphill battle, and we're not getting much help from even our own allies. It doesn't work like that. In most other positions, if I was a football player, baseball player, I was a shortstop. I'm hitting 340 in the minor leagues, getting on base, playing awesome defense. People are going to want to have you on a team, but they don't just go out of their way to ignore you, and you have no idea if you're actually having an impact or not. That was the worst part. It's am I even making a difference? Because you're saying, where do you stop? That's how I felt at the end of 2016. Like I had put everything on the line to try to make a difference. And at the end of it, it felt like, well, I don't know if I did anything or if anybody noticed. Like who's on my side? What do I do now? I've totally thrown myself in my social media and all the work that I've put out. Like that's going to, affect me. People like employers, like it'd be great if I could get a job in the independent media, but if I don't, and I have to go get a regular civilian job, people are going to look at my, social media and they'd be like, no, we can't hire that guy. So it was just awful. So I don't like, there's a lot of things I don't like about the indie media, but some people have had great success. Great for them. I wish there was more cohesion, work as a team. I tell everybody where I stand with them, and I'm not afraid to talk about anybody, but it doesn't go both ways, unfortunately. So,
well, let's bring up right there, make a pivot to another man who is kind of interestingly taking up a really large share of independent media space with the show that he's been doing and covering a lot of interesting topics that we cover, interviewing a lot of people that we cover the news about. This is Russell Brand. Is he the next one up with the target on his back? Obviously. Let's discuss. So, Blake, agree or disagree? Russell Brand is getting unfairly targeted in a coordinated attack. Another guy who has entered the independent media space, if you could call it such. I mean, he is a well-known commodity in the world of comedy and television and movies. So he's not a newbie. He's not outside the system any more than Bill Maher is outside the system. They are the system. They've carved an interesting little niche out where they've temporarily been allowed to say certain things that might rankle some feathers, but not quite independent. But he's doing some interesting, valuable stuff. Blake, agree or disagree that Russell Brand is getting unfairly targeted in a coordinated attack?
Oh, absolutely agree. It's disturbing to see him under fire like that. And he's been doing a terrific job in the independent media. I really like what he does. And I think he's very effective, and now they're going after him. And since they can't beat him on the issues and facts, they decided to dig up some old stuff on him from before he did media, and now they're going to try to ruin his life. And some of this stuff has legitimacy to it. But I mean, it's old news. But this is what they're doing. This is sad. They went after Trump for this, same stuff. Like, hey, let's find some, crazy lady from 30 years ago that thinks you sexually assaulted her in a dressing room. Now, the stuff with Russell Brand is a lot more serious, and he was no angel before. So yes, he was a Hollywood guy, a star, and did a lot of drugs and probably got himself into some, unfortunate situations, but that's not the man that I see today. And I could, say the same similar things about myself. Like, I was a sinner before I was a saint. I'm no saint, but I was definitely a different person, in my 20s versus when I decided to kind of, have a different purpose in life and go into the independent media. Now, I didn't really, I just did a lot of stupid things, made a lot of bad decisions, drinking and stuff like that. I didn't actually do any rape or any sexual assault or anything like that. But it's sad because if I ever did become big enough to where the mainstream media is going to try to attack me, it's not going to be because, going after the issues or saying I'm wrong because of certain things. It's going to be, oh, let's go find, somebody that knew him in his, early 20s or something. We'll pay them and get a bunch of dirt on him and say, hey, see, Blake was a, bad guy. Or it's just the way that they do things now. So they've dug up these old stories and they're going to try to ruin Russell Brand because he's getting too much momentum. He's making the mainstream media look bad, and they have to take him down. And they got to take everybody down for 2024. So whether that's Alex Jones, Russell Brand, Who else do they take? Stuart Rhodes, the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, Enrique Tarrio, that leadership, Joe Biggs. They are going to do everything they can to take out all of their, the toughest opposition. Joe Rogan as well. They don't have as much.
Stephen Crowder as well.
Well, Stephen Crowder is self-inflicted, has done a lot of awful
all of
things.
these are somewhat
To be
self-inflicted.
To be fair.
All of these are
Andrew
somewhat
Tate. So
self-inflicted.
those are a couple of guys I don't want to be too
Andrew Tate as well.
associated with. I don't think those are angels by any means. Although they, to be fair, Crowder does a good job with some things, but he's got some pretty serious character flaws. I wouldn't want to work for him. But but that's the method of attack. So it's not on the issues, it's not on facts. It's personal character smears.
Well, speaking of facts, what do we know about what's going on with Brand? Like specifically, where are we at with this? Like we've heard the story.
All right.
But what are we talking about? It's a 16-year-old in England. It's 4 people in total. Well, break it down for us.
Yeah, there's a few. So we've got Russell Brand. He's postponed his comedy tour following sexual assault allegations. He's been accused of multiple women of sexual and emotional abuse in a joint investigation by Times of London, Sunday Times, and Channel 4.
Quick question. What is emotional abuse? Isn't that what anybody says about somebody they're in a relationship when it goes south? Couldn't that apply to anyone that's like no longer feeling the former attraction that they used to have with the partner? Oh, it's emotional abuse. Yeah, probably literally everybody would say that about somebody that you're deciding to no longer be with. I don't know. I mean, some of these are obvious accusations, but something like that is so vague. How do you even put that in? Every ex, 70% of all exes. I don't know what. Actually, that's a good question, Blake. What percentage of exes do you think are still like acrimonious to this day? I know there's several people that have ended things and they're just like, I don't know. We just grew apart and we kind of wanted some different things and they kind of annoyed me and I kind of annoyed them, but I wish them well. I don't, no particular ill will. I hope they do well in life and I hope they find someone that makes them super happy. Like what percentage do you think are like vitriolic and they're still like gnashing their teeth and clenching their fist and talking shit? What percentage that's our question of the day. What percentage of former encounters with people are really, really negative in perpetuity versus positive? What say you, Blake? What percentage? And that's a question for everybody. Kenneth and Dreamer and Katie, what percentage do you think would be? How do I phrase the question? I'm trying to figure out that last part.
It's tough because and especially on a shorter time frame, because people can be very, they usually don't take that well. Yeah, there's sometimes in theory it'd be great if people could just walk away and say, hey, this isn't really working out. But it's almost always one person is not going to feel that way. And those effects can linger for years, a lifetime even. People scorned. So that's just part of life. Unfortunately, that's what it happens. So yes, there is a lot of that, and people. It doesn't always bring out the best from us when we get emotional and attached and hurt. People can certainly lash out in many different ways and not take things so well. And then there's people that are just do bad things, so and just don't care or don't have the empathy. So it's a complex issue, but well, good question though. And let's take another look at another article here. Russell Brand's agents have also dropped the actor after rape and sexual assault claims.
Yeah, see, this is the part that well, hold on. What more do we know about the claims? I kind of cut you off there. Like, do we have as much specific emotional distress? That's right. All they're giving us for specifics right now.
No, there's some substantial stuff here. I'll get into this. So this is another one out of the Daily Mail. How Russell Brand's behavior was an open secret in the industry. Now I got to change this. I mean, it'd be different if this was like recent stuff. That would carry more weight to it. If it was like, hey, Russell, doing such a great job, and I like his videos, and he's saying inspiring things and challenging big pharma, and then as soon as the cameras are off, he's a sociopathic predator and he deserves to be destroyed. That would be one thing. But if they're going, because now, as far as I'm concerned, he's reinvented himself. He's a character of good, and he's trying to do good things, and he's sober now, and he's probably seen the error of his ways, didn't like what he was doing. He's thrown away his Hollywood career so that he could bring truth and love and light and what have you. And I respect that. And so it's sad to me that they're going to try to dig up old things from his ugly past to try to ruin him now.
And by the way, like some of these movies, like Get Him to the Greek, he was playing himself. He was like Eminem in 8 Mile. He's a wild, out of control, womanizing alcoholic. He's playing it's the part he was born to play, baby. It's Eminem in 8 Mile. You're playing yourself. So, I mean, yes, that's exactly who you expected in real life. I knew a guy like this. I knew a guy that looked like this, dressed like this, acted like this. I worked with this dude. I hung out with this dude out in Beverly Hills when I was out there working. I'll leave him nameless. But I'm telling you, man, like, he was a character. It was like he was a caricature of himself. I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'm just you got this buddy back and forth thing. It's like, I don't know. I'm the normal one. You just set yourself to 10. And he was on 10. Like, we would roll around that city, just going to concerts and stuff. I mean, it was interesting, but really reminded me of Russell Brand. But yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff is you're dredging it up from how many years ago. And, it's a hit piece. They're trying to frame him to take him out. They're trying to take his kneecaps out. So, I mean, how you said there's a lot of stuff is the secret, the unspoken secret. How did you phrase that? The quiet secret in Hollywood.
That's an open secret that he's in the industry. Because there's a lot of stuff that goes on in Hollywood that people don't know. And a lot of the people that you think are great people are really anything but. And it's, in Hollywood, it would be an open secret. Like, yeah, this person's bad news. And, you think he's a great guy, but he's actually just a predator behind the scenes.
Like Harvey Weinstein that Oprah was feeding young ladies to.
Yeah, they got all kinds of stuff like that. It's awful. And so, but he's, removed himself from that, and he's doing the independent media thing. And he's been, he's a good guy and inspiring and doing a lot of good work. But of course, they had to take him down. So here they go. Yeah, there's some stuff. I'll get into there's a video here, which I am going to run without digging into this article here. But maybe we could just show this. Here's the highlights from the what do they call this? The Daily Mail. It's not. I forget the tabloids. Yeah, here we go. It's one of the big tabloids. So more women have come forward. How the liberal media feted the comedian as a political messiah, set him on the path to becoming a conspiracy peddling crank. You've got one of the accusers reveals a letter she wrote to the comedian after he allegedly raped her in L.A. Inside Russell Brand's marriage to his wife, Laura Gallagher. When she was 18, he met through a sports star sister. 4 women, shocking dossier of allegations against the comedian. Have launched a probe. I guess he had sex with a Filipino prostitute when he was aged 16, while his father slept with 2 hookers in the same hotel room. Wow, it's like the scene. Yeah, get him to the Greek when they do. Was it the Jeffrey with was it Cole Meany, the actor? Who was his dad, and they smoked that joint, but they called it a Jeffrey, and it was laced with all kinds of drugs. But it almost sounds like that was just like a real life thing. Russell Brand's cult social media and podcast fan base will be likely to stand by him, a PR guru says. And an hour late, but the show goes on for the defiant Russell Brand as he stands up to front of 2,000 adoring fans. That's for his comedy, but he has canceled his tour. And don't get me wrong here. Now, if he was still like a sociopathic predator behind the scenes right now, maybe it's time to take him down because he's just going to make us look bad. But I think this is just all old news back when he was, a different version of himself.
Let me add one particular point here.
Sure. Before I get to the video.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of deleting people and canceling people unless they are proven guilty. I don't like this preemptive strike of just taking away shows, taking away access, taking away banking, taking away Patreon, taking away memberships, taking away groups, taking away pages. I don't like it. Right. It is a terrible precedent to set. It's one of the worst things. And in general, and in the spirit of, guilt, innocent unless proven guilty, that's where I stand on that. So I don't know exactly what's going on here. I don't know exactly what statutes of limitations there may be. I don't know exactly if any of this or some of this is true. But just in general, you shouldn't be able to ruin somebody's ability to earn their income unless you can definitively prove something other than just being accused, because then it's the Salem witch trials all over again. I thought we went through this shit in the 1600s.
Right. Yeah, no, we certainly did, but there is a different side of the story, to be fair. And so let's hear what the opposition is saying. Now, we did cover Brian Krasenstein. Now, here's his twin brother, Ed, making a different tweet here. No one should be defending Russell Brand right now. No one should be outright claiming that he's guilty, except for his possible victims and their friends' family. But he also praised Megyn Kelly for doing an amazing job touching on this. Just because you may feel that the Me Too movement may have gone too far doesn't mean that every person you like who is accused of a crime should automatically be considered innocent. Why can't we just say, let's see the facts? Why can't we see, let's have a courts decide? Why do we always have to take sides? So let's run this clip from Megyn Kelly.
You guys, I realize that the knee-jerk instinct now by so many is Russell Brand is wrongly accused. These women are all liars. I'm sorry, this is extremely detailed. And in the case of the other woman, there's an actual set of medical records after she went to a rape crisis center the day of the alleged encounter, plus apologetic, begging for forgiveness text from Russell Brand. Could you please, for a second, stay open-minded to the possibility that the women are telling the truth? We don't need to so overcorrect from the Me Too movement that every woman gets completely disregarded and called a liar when she finds the guts to come forward and make an allegation. They may be telling the truth. It's worth investigating. We don't need to knee-jerk condemn him, and we don't need to knee-jerk condemn them. I'm just pissed because what I've seen is like a rash of guys coming out to be like, it's bullshit. You don't know whether it's bullshit or not. Did you read the report of this woman? Did you read the alleged rape details? Did you read the text message that she has from Russell Brand begging for forgiveness?
Okay. And, to be fair, she does make some good points there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely.
We don't know. But again, if this was, a year ago, yeah, let's burn Brand because we can't trust him.
When is this from?
From his old world. I don't know exactly when the rape allegation, when that happened. Yes. Is there a statute of limitations? Did they protect him while he was in Hollywood? They probably have these sorts of things, and maybe they pay him off under the table. But then these tabloid rags they'll spend a lot of money to find victims or to get anybody to speak out against people and trash them. That's just how this stuff works. And so he doesn't have the Hollywood protection that he used to. But again, I'm going to forgive and forget I can't speak for any particular victims or anything. But as far as I'm concerned, he's a reformed man, unless they can say that this is recent. So
I don't know this Stephen Steele guy here. And I agree with Megyn Kelly. As consistently wrong as CNN and MSNBC are, just because they say it doesn't automatically make it bullshit. I just always assume that it's possible or likely to be bullshit. And so, what Megyn Kelly was saying there, I agree with completely. But I saw this, and this was interesting. I retweeted this out. And this is Steven Steele. He says he's a talk show host, recording artist, consultant, a lot of things. He says, many years ago, I met a young woman at a bar I was DJing at. She was very persistent and had asked me a number of times to hang out after my gig before I accepted. I took her back to my place, put on some tea, we listened to some records, and were conversing. During the course of our conversation, I'd learned that she was dating an acquaintance of mine. This made me uncomfortable, so I decided to cut our hangout short and offered to drive her home. She was disappointed and slammed my car door upon leaving my car in front of her apartment. The next afternoon, I was hanging out with in my friend's store when the same acquaintance I mentioned above saw me and angrily confronted me in the store. He said he wanted to fight me outside for taking advantage of the girl he was dating. You see, the girl I drove home the night before had told him I had gotten her drunk and basically sexually assaulted her. Truth is, I don't drink. I never laid a hand on this girl. She was essentially begging me to sleep with her. I declined her advances, insisted on driving her home, and that's just what I did. Fortunately, at the time, I was interning at a law firm, so I retained legal representation. I confronted this girl at her work in a natural food store. She ceased her lies and was forced to admit to them to avoid threats of legal action. Another time, I went out on a first date with a different woman. I wasn't feeling a chemistry between us and didn't return her texts after that date. She made up a rumor that I was secretly gay and spread it around to everyone in my friend's circle, all because I didn't want to date her. Some women will lie and defame a man over very petty, vindictive reasons. Pardon me if I'm skeptical over recent allegations against Russell Brand, whom I'm personally not the biggest fan of, by the way. The timing, the details, they all seem suspect. We'll see how things shake out, but I'm here to say that if this can happen to a non-famous, non-celebrity guy like me, it can certainly happen to someone this wealthy and high profile that just so happens to be primary competition to the mainstream media. So I found that take to be an interesting take. It's yet another one of the takes that
definitely
we could consider. If we're going to consider Megyn Kelly, let's consider what this dude had to say, because I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. I'm not backing a horse. It's just anytime they go after somebody who's getting a lot of things right, you always just kind of wonder, like, who's behind this? What's the reason? Is there, just the motivation? And then it's like, to what degree am I supposed to participate in the witch hunt because it's taking out somebody that's competing in your space,
Right. And I have no doubt that Russell Brand probably did some terrible things when he was younger. Not necessarily even trying to, but I mean, when you're on drugs and you drink, I mean, you're going to do stupid, you're going to make dumb decisions. And that just happens. I used to drink a lot. I partied. I spent my 20s in Las Vegas. So I get blackout drunk quite a bit. I had a lot of fun, but got myself into trouble. Not a whole lot. Not get arrested or anything like that. But, a lot of things I'm probably embarrassed about. And at a certain point when I'm hitting my early 30s, like I can't do this anymore. Like, this is not the person I am. I don't like that aspect of me. Like, there was a time where, drinking was fun. And then there's the time where it's like, ooh, I'm not doing myself any favors by, staying out all night in Vegas and doing stupid shit. I'm too old for that. So you're rolling the dice. And maybe Russell Brand was also in a similar situation, forced to look himself in the mirror and go, I don't like this person anymore. I'm going to change and I'm going to be a good guy now. So I need to know when these events took place and figure out a way to get past it. So that's it. So I need to know more about that. We don't know all the details,
Correct.
But we do know that they're trying to destroy him.
Yes. Do we have anything else to add to this one?
No, I think we've hit that pretty good. It's probably time to bounce. We got about, we still got a few.
We got a few to bounce to, but you were saying, you were mentioning drunk, in trouble, embarrassed. That's a good segue for this Lauren Boebert story, another one that people are trying to take out. So let's shift over to that topic.
Ooh, I like that one.
That's a different one. I've never seen that stinger before.
It's new. Yeah.
I like it. Okay, so Blake, agree or disagree that Lauren Boebert should not have apologized for her theater shenanigans? Agree or disagree? She should not have apologized.
Right. So I am going to disagree here. So it was kind of divided. It was an interesting story that blew up over the weekend.
Do you have the video, Blake?
I probably do. Let's see. I don't know if I have the exact video, but let me pull.
Oh, we're going to need
something
the
up.
exact video.
Okay. Well,
The video is the best part of the story, I would say.
Okay. I think it's got more pictures than I do have video. Although, let me try to reset this page here. So this is out of TMZ. Lauren Boebert reaches across the aisle for 2 handfuls of her date's crotch. And this seems to be spinning. So, Brian, I don't know if you have it, but I can send you this link. Wait. There it goes. There we go.
Go
So
full
he's
screen.
getting some. He's getting some. He's got his hand on her boob. There you go.
I mean,
rather than slap him down, she's like, "Ooh, let me put my hand on you." There you go.
I mean, she's dressed to the nines this evening.
Oh yeah, she's on a hot date. So she's. I don't know if
Can you
she's
can you full screen that, Blake? Can you full screen that real quick?
Yeah.
There
Not
we
real high
go.
quality.
Thank you, Blake.
Yeah, there you go. He's getting there. Here he's. Ooh,
I mean,
yeah.
Who among us has not participated in a little bit of this outside of the 4 walls of your domicile? I mean, is this really a big deal?
Well, I'm going to say yes, this is. Now, if they were teenagers, if I didn't know them, if they were just 2 people, randos, that wouldn't be a big deal. It's the problem is this is like I think it's a live theater performance of Beetlejuice, and she's a sitting congresswoman in this public space, and then she gets caught vaping, and her and her date are kind of groping each other sexually in
Very
a
handsy.
whole theater.
Very handsy.
Very handsy. And then at first she lied about it, which is understandable, and then they showed all the video and it was kind of like, oh, nothing I can do about it, so just admit to it. I think she did a great job of just saying, hey, you know what, yeah, I did it, I shouldn't have done it. And she had good spirits about it because TMZ confronted her at the airport, and she and I guess she also broke up with this bartender, the Democratic bar owner who groped her on the Beetlejuice date.
So I mean, I just kind of wonder how much was him getting her liquored up, and then I mean, he's clearly the most aggressive in the video, and she's just kind of like, hey, I wore the dress, I want you to look, yeah, have a touch. She's recently divorced, dress, right? Yeah. Like she's single and ready to mingle as a grandmother. She's a grandmother. She's a grandmother.
Oh, she's gonna be. Yeah, no, she's a cute little thing. I
mean, there you have it.
Right, but vaping and all that stuff. I mean, I don't even have a trouble with her vaping, but maybe do that in the restroom. I don't
really care about that either. Like,
but she's not. But she's a sitting congresswoman, and she's in a giant theater full of people, and she's acting like she's above the law. And I heard she said like, oh, don't you know who I am? And I want to call the mayor. Like, that's not cool. But I forgive her because she did come out and apologize. But, some people were saying that, she shouldn't. And I kind of disagree there.
How sauced? What's that one? How sauced did her Democrat date get her? Well,
it's possible because some people were saying this could have been a setup, and it could have been. That seems like a lot of trouble to set that up and to try to get the cameras on her. But maybe
who's filming this, Blake? Why is somebody filming this?
Well, I think. Well,
who is filming this? Why is everything being filmed? Like,
I don't know if this was all theater cameras or not. Maybe it wasn't theater cameras. Maybe it was somebody who was like not a journalist, but just one of those paparazzi types or something that knew she was there and was trying to get this on camera. So, but it's interesting, and I like this tweet from Luke Radowski who says, it's not a coincidence. But to see, Lauren Boebert in a dark theater, we get a full view of everything. But if somebody is in the White House and brings cocaine in, you see nothing. Or Epstein's jail cell, you see nothing.
Yeah, give me a break. And in your outrage-o-meter, spare me. Like, once again, if this becomes a continual trend and it's a consistent embarrassment without a course correction, okay. I think that's a different conversation to have. She's freshly single. She's excited. This guy was way more excited. Where's the rage at this guy? Shouldn't most of this be aimed at now? Okay, she vaped. Woo, big deal. Oh, she had her arms up and danced a little bit. Oh my gosh, she had fun. I mean, did the bartender get her a little
weed or cigarettes? Yeah.
She is from Colorado, right?
Right. I don't have an issue with her vaping, of course. I just think you got to be a little more discreet about it.
If you're going to try to criminalize anybody trying to enjoy this often miserable life, spare me. Spare me. You want to figure out what's going on in Epstein's jail cell? You want to tell me about the Hunter story? Okay, well then let's talk about it. Kenneth B was asking, Blake was partying like it was 1999. Blake was partying in 1999, like the Prince song. Yeah, 20
Oh,
years
yeah,
ago.
definitely. 1999, like my favorite thing to do was probably playing drinking games for many years. Yes. Bring it on. Good times.
Oh, yeah. Geez.
Get drunk, then hit the bars. Yeah.
To think back to those days. Kenneth B also calls her Lauren Boebert instead of Lauren Boebert.
Like
Lauren Boebert. It wasn't out unless you got a higher resolution photo you'd like to send me. Okay, well, let's move away from this. We're going to go into a lightning round, Blake. We got a couple more to touch on before we bounce today. So more new stingers. Here we go.
Cool. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, Blake, if people pay for X, it will no longer be a platform for free speech. Agree or disagree? If people pay for X, it'll no longer be a platform for free speech.
I'm going to disagree.
What?
I don't know. This is a really a tough one. I don't know where to stand on this one.
You're very X supportive, I've noticed. You're very X friendly. I appreciate what X has done. I appreciate what Elon has done.
Yep, I'm trying to be optimistic.
Degree.
I know that they hide my replies, which is why I have to troll people on full display now. And I know I'm not getting that much traction on certain things. But I'm still trying to be optimistic that this is going to be a great platform. But I will pull up a tweet from Ford Fisher, who's saying X, formerly Twitter, will never be a digital town square for free speech if you have to pay to speak on it. Now, the word is that, did I get rid of my story?
And Blake, you need to tweet more. You need to tweet more of these things and tag us at American_media_. I never even see you in my feed. You got to tag me. If you tag me, I'll retweet it. But I never see what you're up to. You never pop up in mine. But if you engage me, I'll engage you back. Like we'll try to boost each other's.
That's weird. You got to use like a list or something. Yeah, because you're always using your homepage. You're just getting to see whatever the algorithm shows you, but you're not actually seeing things in like a real timeline.
I see all sorts of stuff.
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened to my, I had a story on this. I guess I must have accidentally closed it. Okay, I found it again. So let's pull this up. But Elon Musk says Twitter, now X could charge all users subscription fees. I'm not exactly sure how true this is. He's kind of, allegedly said this, but maybe he doesn't want to do it. I'm not sure. I'm sure he would. He's saying that, erecting a paywall around the business would ward off bots or the automated accounts. And I think that would be great to see all the bots removed. But he's also saying, you don't have to pay $11 a month for the premium stuff. But if everybody could just, throw in a few bucks, that would prevent largely a lot of the bots and the sock puppets and the NPC accounts, because people won't want to spend. Or maybe if they could watch it but not participate. Maybe that would be another thing. I mean, I just think that people should pay a little bit for it, I would think. Or if you want to be able to speak, you should be able to like see this stuff. I think that should be free. You should be able to go on Twitter and see what everybody's saying. But if you actually want to participate and be seen, you should probably have to pay something. At least in my opinion, but I could.
I
be
would
wrong. Not
disagree
everyone would
there.
agree with that.
I would strongly disagree with that.
Okay. Well, what if it got rid of all the bots though?
This isn't about bots. Nope, I'm not buying that argument. That's the same as like that New Mexico governor saying, "Well, it's just to get rid of the violence." No. We're not playing that. It's for your safety. It'll improve your user experience. No, it won't. No, it won't. There'll still be bots. You'll just make a few dollars off them. There's still gonna be bots. This ain't about bots. This is about what this platform is and what it isn't.
Well, he's got to make money, right? So he doesn't have the government
it's
subsidies.
Like Sirius XM, satellite radio, Blake. It's like being on HBO. Okay, well, you go behind a paywall and nobody sees you anymore. That's not what there's supposed to be. A purpose to the town square where everything is and things just are. You can have a premium version of that, I suppose, but that changes it from something that it was to something that it isn't. You lose access to so many people that are like, no, I'm out. I got a million streaming services.
What if they can still watch? What if they can still like or retweet, but they just can't, voice something?
No, that's the whole point. That's the whole point.
But there's also a problem is like, he's got to be able to make money. We've got to be able to keep this platform. It's not, government subsidized and run by the feds like it used to be. So, Elon's
how
gotta
much
keep the
money
lights
is
on.
needed? What like we say run the platform.
Right.
How much?
You don't
So
think
you're
this
paying for
costs money?
server space and a few employees?
Right. Okay, but Brian, how many hours do you think you spend on X a month?
Not many. Why?
Think that it's worth a few dollars to you a month to use it and to get access?
I don't know. It's pay to play. I mean, how important is the Second Amendment to you? Should you pay a licensing fee for your firearm? Well, no, that's an infringement on your ability to get this shit for free.
Well, should I have guns for free? No, people charge for guns, right? I can't go to a gun store and just get free guns. You got to pay for it, right?
Yeah, I paid for my computer already. That's right. My access point. Sure. I mean, well, I guess you can be a journalist, but you have to pay for this.
Do you think this costs money for
this
Elon?
lanyard? If you don't pay for a press lanyard, you don't get to exercise your First Amendment right. Like, well, it's important to speak, right? Why not pay a few dollars to speak? Because it's free. Because we have the ability to participate in that.
Because we want to keep this town square available. Otherwise, it disappears. If Elon's taking a big loss every year, then maybe he's just going to shut it down. How do you like that? Would that be worth it? Is it worth a few bucks? That's me. I spend a lot of time on here. It's information, it's entertainment, it's everything. Like Twitter is absolutely by far and away my favorite source. And there's so many
your
people
engagement, your engagement is sold for advertising dollars. There's money made here.
Yeah, you can.
Your participation funds the effort to advertise in the space, which makes him money.
Yeah, he can. Well, if the ADL is not taking down all of his, ads, yeah, and he can share some of the revenue and get some of the subscription fees so that people can collect it. That's another thing. But how long do you think he's supposed to run a charity? Because people don't want to throw in a few bucks. And I got a problem with some of these. Like I'm calling out Rupar on this tweet here. As Aaron Rupar put this out, the value of Twitter for me has been building an audience and attracting new readers to stuff I write or publish. And if Elon makes this move to charge and the platform no longer has scale, there will be no good reason for me not to spend all my time on Threads and elsewhere. So I called him out and said, Rupar spends like 10 hours a day here, creates 125,000 posts over the years, builds up a massive audience, mostly spreading leftist propaganda, but can't spend a few lousy dollars a month to help keep the platform running. Why are these shitlibs such shameful freeloaders? And then I followed up. I'm guessing most of these hacks, flacks, and lackeys won't pay for it because they know that the majority of their audience is comprised of bots and NPCs. That may be part of it too. I'm not exactly sure, but this is a private company now. And Elon has got to find a way to make it profitable, to keep the lights on, to keep the building operating, to hire the people that run it. And yes, there's advertisements, but the ads are being, targeted by the ADL or whoever.
It reminds me.
He needs to make, what would you do, Brian? If you ran the business, then you tell me, since you couldn't pay a few dollars a month for something that you get a ton of use out of, how would you run it?
Well, it reminds me a little bit of net neutrality, and they were talking about fast lanes on the internet. Like you should have to pay a premium to be able to use the internet. The internet is everything. The internet is everywhere. The internet it's omnipresent. But it's like, well, you're not going to be able to access the same place without paying a premium for it. I'm not a super big fan of the concept. I don't like being stonewalled out without having to provide some sort of fast.
You don't get enough use out of it. You don't get enough joy or information or knowledge or what have you that you wouldn't spend a few dollars.
I'll tell you what.
To me, I
feel like maybe every fifth ad or every fifth tweet that I scroll through is an advertisement. Yeah. Every time I engage on that site, I'm creating money for Elon Musk. Every time. Okay, so I'm participating in the money process. Every time I'm on that site, I'm another set of eyeballs that they've advertised to. They use those metrics to go out and get those deals.
Okay, so you just are okay with just being a freeloader, and it's all for free, and that's it. And if he has to get rid of the company, he says, "Hey guys, I really wanted to have this digital town square for everybody, but I'm not running a fucking charity here. So pony up a couple bucks a month, or I've got to shut it down."
All right. Speaking of got to shut it down, we only have a couple moments here. How many moments, Blake?
You got about 2 minutes, and I'll probably just have to forward you any links.
Go to this one, Blake. Agree or disagree that leftists' open border and police defunding policies have backfired?
Well, I guess I'm going to have to agree on that. I've got a few articles. I don't know how much time I can get into this. But this is actually kind of another headline I ripped off the Federalist in a way. Leftist open border and defunding the police policies have come home to roost. And Brian, we covered New York Mayor Eric Adams. They're finally acknowledging that they're getting overrun by all of these immigrants just piling over the border. It's over 7 million at least that we know of. And it's also showing...
This is pure insanity, Blake. God, this is I just for the life of me don't understand what's happening. I mean, I completely understand what's happening. Oh my God.
Right. So let me pull this one up. It's just getting worse. Like the border invasion update, record crowds of illegal migrants flooding across the border in Texas, thousands streaming through Panama on the way to US because they're not doing anything to shut this thing down. So it's only going to get worse. Yeah, over 7 million already in the last 3 years. And they're showing Bill Milligan, saying, here it is, showing the videos of these mass illegal crossings. They're not doing it. And the leftists, some of these cities, they're getting overrun, even in these blue sanctuary cities. But then also part of the point of this article was to show this lady from Minneapolis who's calling for the defunding of the police. And then it looks like she staged this thing with fake blood, perhaps. I don't know if the jury's still out on that, but talking about how, they defunded the police and now carjackings are continuing to afflict the city. And now this lady who wanted to defund the police, second vice chairwoman, Shivanti, violently attacked and carjacked in front of her children in the driveway of her Minneapolis home in broad daylight, saying she suffered a broken leg, blah, blah, blah. So, and then we've got just talking about a town 1,500 miles away in deep blue Massachusetts. They're lamenting the surge in migrants that pouring over this town of 40,000. They're not able to house all of these people. And then they're trying to give them all this money and just letting them run around the country. But at some point, these policies have come home to roost. And what the hell? What is our immigration policy? This doesn't make any sense.
You want to know what our immigration policy is?
Well, Brian, you're going to have to tell everybody on the other side because I have got to go.
Okay.
But
I will see you on Thursday. Tell people where to find you.
Twitter TV's Blake Walley. And, of course, thenextlevelnews.com, which is where the archive will be. But thank you all. It's been a pleasure, as always. And we'll look forward to seeing what's in the news on Thursday. So take care. Thanks, Brian. Good job. And we'll catch you guys next time. All right, goodbye.
Blake. Peace out, sir. This is the video that it will explain what's going on. This is it right here. This is Joe Biden in 2015 talking about an unrelenting stream of immigration to replace white people. Can you believe this? That's a source of our strength? What in the world is he talking about? Okay. So, yeah. Get prepared. Get ready. You've got millions of sleeper cells that could attack this country from within. On the verge of World War III, if the power goes out. Get prepared. Get right with God. Get prepared. There's a plan in place. Unfortunately, it seems like World War III is on the horizon. And Barack Hussein Obama and Joseph Robinette Biden, they have a plan in place. Mayorkas, they have a plan in place. You saw what Obama did with Al-Qaeda. Or with, in Libya. ISIS is what I meant to say. You're seeing trouble all across Europe. There's a plan in place. And their World War III is falling apart. Nobody really wants to participate in the money laundering of Zelensky anymore in Ukraine. If they were evil and desperate enough to pull off COVID how they did, what do you think they're going to do next? Brings me to my next topic. Agree or disagree that COVID symptoms are too mild to consider locking the country down? What say you? Okay, we got the story. No video on that. No one saw the video. Make sure you hit the button on the left to screen share. I did. Oh, that didn't play? Oh, well, that's weird then. Sorry, I'm getting show notes from Blake. Oh, see, it's this doggone restream. You click it to share and it says it's sharing. And you just assume that it's sharing. But then it has this thing where on the bottom left, it keeps the box grayed out. And you got to click it a second time. All right, here we go. That's Mayorkas, a traitor. Joe Biden, a traitor. Listen to him.
An unrelenting stream of immigration. Non-stop.
And by the way, this is on C-SPAN, combating terrorism. What do you think's going to happen with these people that have come in here? They're sleeper cells. Not everyone. They're sleeper cells. They're military-aged fighting males. Do you have a plan? Are you ready? Are you really ready to defend your life, your neighborhood, your family, your country?
Stop. Folks like me who were Caucasian of European descent, for the first time in 2017, will be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. fewer than 50% of the people in America from then and on will be white European stock. That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength.
That's a source of our strength. All right. I'm just trying to make sense of all this, and I tried to share that to you the first time, but I will stop sharing it now. Next topic. COVID symptoms are too mild to consider locking the country down. That's where I was. Oh, here's a stinger. Let's do a stinger. Here we go. All right, go to all of the places for countervailing views. cdc.gov and cdc.gov/vaccine, because, you know, they really want to sell you the stuff. So consider countervailing views to what we're about to tell you, which is a story. This is from NBC. Sore throat and then congestion. Common COVID symptoms follow a pattern now, doctors say. Doctors who treat COVID describe the ways the illness has gotten milder. Man, I dislike websites that just jump on you. Gotten milder and shifted over time to mostly affect the upper respiratory tract. Doctors say they're finding it increasingly difficult to distinguish COVID from allergies or the common cold, even as hospitalizations tick up. The illness's past hallmarks, such as a dry cough or the loss of sense of taste or smell, have become less common. Instead, doctors are observing milder disease, mostly concentrated in the upper respiratory tract. Sore throat usually arrives first, then congestion. Okay. That's NBC saying it, not me. Additionally, there's another story here. Okay, this is from Natural News. I gotta double click the article that I'm trying to share for you. This is another one that Blake has shared with me in the show notes as he was bouncing today. Follow him on Twitter at TV's Blake Walley and the Next Level News.com. All right, so go to cdc.gov/vaccine for countervailing views, of course. But this says 1 in a million shot COVID vaccine, air quotes, only helps one person avoid COVID death out of every 1 million jabs delivered. The CDC confirms. This is from yesterday by Ethan Huff. The latest data about Wuhan coronavirus COVID-19 vaccines suggests that they only help one person for every 1 million people injected to avoid death by COVID. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, now states in its newest databases that per million doses in the 12 to 17-year-olds over 6 months, so this is a very specific subset of this, but within per million doses between 12 and 17 over 6 months, 0 to 1 deaths have been prevented. Now, that's different from saying everybody who participates. There are some people that are very overweight, some people that have extreme underlying health issues. But in other words, it's entirely likely that 0 out of every 1 million people jabbed in the Fauci flu skips death. But for the sake of arguing in favor of the shots doing anything other than killing people, we will go with 1 out of every 1 million, which is still dismal. We know for a fact that many more people than 1 out of a million injected is injured or killed by the shots themselves, which means that even 1 out of a million success, air quote, rate is not actually a success. And if the true number is closer to 0 rather than 1, then these shots are death shots and nothing more. I mean, that's just mathematically accurate for that 12 to 17-year-old age range. Once again, that's not for all of the ages. This is them saying this. They are saying that the CDC is confirming this. While some believe that the vaccines are not effective at all, others think that they cause more harm than good, writes Sanchari Ghosh for Sportskida health and fitness. With the revelation put forward by the CDC regarding the efficacy of coronavirus vaccines against death prevention, questions surrounding their effectiveness have been at an all-time high. Reading CDC data closely actually shows that 0 deaths are prevented out of every 1 million people injected. So the establishment is still pushing the false narrative that COVID jabs cause the human immune system to produce antibodies that are capable of fighting the latest strains of mutated coronavirus, though there is no evidence to prove this, they say. From the very beginning, Gosh confirms even the government itself has never claimed, at least officially, that the shots prevent infection or death. At best, they're said to reduce serious symptoms that may require hospitalization. Truth be told, 0 deaths are prevented out of every 1 million people injected for COVID. CDC simply puts it as 0 to 1 deaths prevented to make it seem more likely they do something when in reality they do nothing except destroy immunity. And there's Alex Berenson. So, something to consider. In other words, if you think the vaccine's 1.0 side effects were bad, you ain't seen nothing yet. Those who do survive will be too sick to fight back, some people speculate. Some say it's to alter people's DNA and ultimately kill millions more people. There are some people in this death cult that think there's too many humans breathing air on this earth. Well, you have to hand it to the MK Ultra people. They really know what they're doing, sadly. I'm still somewhat surprised at the number of people with a high IQ who seriously lack in the common sense department, this person added. Okay, so there are opinions on that, and I encourage you to go to cdc.gov/vaccine for issues specifically related to vaccines and medical claims and political implications. WHO.int. So see those countervailing views over there. Next, gotta click this. Next news story. Okay, well, this is a bit of a, I don't know, what do you say, a zany story? Is zany a word that the kids are still using? Let's talk about this one. Put the right caption up here. It's tough when I'm doing this and I don't have Blake to kind of take the lead while I do some of this, because I'm like editing and producing the show in real time as I'm doing this. And it's tough because you got to click and then double click and bounce between screens, and it takes a minute. So your brain can't quite get going until you have those things lined up, and they can't get lined up until you do them. And you can't do them until you do the other 3 things first. So what about this? Agree or disagree that there should be a dress code for senators like John Fetterman? Maybe. Big suit guy. I don't prefer them. I wouldn't prefer to wear one. I'd probably just wear a hoodie every day, honestly. But once again, what is the game plan here? What is the ultimate goal? So this is from Fox News. Fetterman says the right is losing their minds over a dress code as Republicans blast him for dressing like a slob. Is a hoodie and gym shirt for the Senate? Senator, how did Fetterman become a senator? And is the same guy that we're seeing today, is that the same John Fetterman from before? What? He was severely hospitalized for a while, and he came out looking very different. I don't know. Senator John Fetterman praised the pause on the Senate's dress code from a pause on the dress code. But some Republicans criticized the move, with one calling it an embarrassment for the American people. I feel it's a little more freedom, which should be bipartisanship. Fetterman, a Pennsylvania Democrat known for his relaxed attire, told Fox News. I don't know why the right side seems to be losing their minds over it. I think it's a good thing, but I'm going to use it sparingly, he added while wearing short sleeve button down. I hope other colleagues take advantage of it too. Is this the same guy? remember his wife left and took the kids, and there was speculation that he wasn't going to make it, and then he emerged. Is this the same guy? Senator Cynthia Lummis disagreed. This is a terribly sad day, a sad development, rather, for the U.S. Senate. The Wyoming Republican said, "I've never seen civility enhanced or a sense of decorum enhanced by dressing like a slob." Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer directed the Sergeant-at-Arms to stop enforcing a dress code for its members, Fox News confirmed Sunday. The move follows a debate about whether Fetterman's leisurely attire is appropriate for a member of the upper chamber. When you dress like that around here, which is the very sloppiest that a person would dress, even if they're going to a gym by themselves, the bar is lowered, Loomis said about Fetterman's attire. The Senate is degraded. It's debased. It should not be typical of how we dress when we go to the floor of the U.S. Senate. The change allows Fetterman to continue wearing his trademark hooded sweatshirts and gym shorts and no longer requires male senators to wear a jacket and tie on the Senate floor. Women senators don't have to wear business attire, but all non-members entering the upper chamber still must adhere to the dress code. Oh, yeah. Rules for me, but not for thee. But even before the directive, Fetterman worked around the dress code by voting from the doorway of the Democratic cloakroom or the side entrance, the Associated Press reported in May. Good grief. This is an embarrassment, Senator Roger Marshall said. People of Kansas don't want me showing up in a hoodie. Out of respect, we should have some sense of decorum here. The Senate's a very important institution that people look up to. I'm here representing the people of Kansas to honor them. I feel like we should have a certain level of apparel. Well, I'm actually going to go the other direction. I'm going to ramp it up. I'm going to dress more formally. Okay. I don't know. How do I feel about that? I kind of don't care. But, I mean, you're making six figures. You're doing okay. You got a nice pension plan for life. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the worst. How about like Los Angeles? You should wear a Los Angeles suit. Jeans and a jacket. You could have jeans and a pair of boots, and you could have a jacket on. Maybe a tie. But it's like a half suit. Okay, I'll meet in the middle. Half suit. No gym shorts. Shouldn't have to wear full suit all the time. Los Angeles suit. Final answer. Or maybe the Canadian tuxedo. Denim on denim. Those are the only two that are allowed in the middle. No gym shorts. No hoodies. I could be okay with that. I like wearing that. I don't particularly care for suits. Okay, final topic. Okay, then. Final topic. Matt Gaetz would be better off leaving D.C. for Florida governor. Ooh, man, I wonder, because what's going on with Ron DeSantis? He's really turned his back on the MAGA crowd. He's a good governor, but he's really burned bridges. Let's dive into this story that Blake sent over. Here we go. He's 100% in, is the quote. Matt Gaetz is widely expected to run for Florida governor. Wow. Florida congressman, however, told NBC News that his only political goal at the moment is getting Donald Trump elected in 2024. The idea that Representative Matt Gaetz will run for Florida governor in 2026. Hang on, where's the article? Oh, doggone it. I got to double click it. Jeez, we need a producer, y'all. There we go. The idea that Representative Matt Gaetz will run for Florida governor in 2026 has been the topic of several conversations in Tallahassee over the past few days, including during a reception Sunday night for the incoming Speaker of the Florida House. Gaetz has long been considered on the short list of those who will try to seek the Republican nomination for governor, a field that is expected to be crowded because the incumbent, Ron DeSantis, will be facing term limits. Oh, there we go. So term limits might be why Ron is trying to get out of Florida governor and run for president. If he had any sense to him, he would try to be Donald Trump's vice president and unite the party. But I suspect little Ronnie D does not have sense to him because that doesn't seem to be what he's doing. DeSantis is currently running for president, but would have 2 years remaining in the governor's mansion if that falls short. Gaetz, like most other Florida Republican politicians, was in Tallahassee for the designation ceremony of Miami Republican State Representative Danny Perez, who starting next year will serve as Speaker of the Florida House. As part of those festivities, Perez held a reception Sunday night at an AC hotel by Marriott near the city's downtown. At the event, Gaetz was seen kind of holding court, and he strongly implied several times he would be running for governor. 4 people at the event told NBC News. There was a lot of talk about it at the reception last night, and Gaetz was telling people to basically expect him to be in. One longtime Florida Republican lobbyist said, "Now, this is NBC, and, when you have unnamed sources, you can't really put much stock in that at all, but, a lot of news is just kind of hearing what you're hearing. But it's NBC, and they have ulterior motives, and they're run by the deep state, and they don't like Gaetz. So just can take it with a grain of salt." Gaetz has not publicly downplayed the idea that he might run for governor one day, but he did tell NBC News on Monday that his only political focus at the moment is trying to elect Donald Trump in 2024. Quote, "Many did encourage me to consider running for governor one day, but we have an outstanding governor who will be in that position through 2026. My only political focus right now is Trump 2024. See, that's the way you thread the needle there. Gaetz was a top advisor to DeSantis to DeSantis's 2018 gubernatorial bid, but the two have since had a falling out, as DeSantis has with most of MAGA, for bailing on President Trump, for throwing President Trump under the bus, for backstabbing President Trump. DeSantis, you've lost us forever. Gaetz has become among the most vocal backers of Trump, whose presidential campaign now leads in most primary polling by significant margins over the rest of the field. You should also include the resident Joe Biden. I think he will, John Morgan, a prominent Florida trial attorney and Democratic political donor, said of Matt Gaetz' chance of running for governor. Geez, that's a tortured sentence graph, a paragraph in a sentence. Morgan chatted briefly on Monday with Gaetz just outside the Florida House chamber. The two have long known each other and worked together in the early DeSantis administration on issues related to medical marijuana. Good issue. He'll be running in a large field. He could win with 30%, Morgan said. Trump's endorsement alone gets him that. Oh. Florida GOP operative said that though Trump has not addressed the future race publicly, the former president would back his longtime ally. He's 100% in, said a Florida Republican operative on Gaetz running for governor. I think Gaetz is an instant frontrunner, and from what I hear, he's already won the Trump primary. Trump has not directly addressed the race, and his campaign declined to comment, but his endorsement played a huge role in helping DeSantis win the 2018 Republican primary. Even aside from Gaetz, several of the former president's political allies are considering a run. Gaetz is currently a central figure in the fight in Washington over a political government shutdown. He has increasingly fought with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy as he tries to negotiate a deal to avoid a government shutdown. Gaetz has been critical of McCarthy, who has not agreed to push for spending cuts that Gaetz and other congressional conservatives want as part of the deal. There's more to it than that. He also hasn't released the January 6th footage as promised. The issue also briefly put him at public odds with U.S. Representative Byron Donalds from Florida, Republican, a Trump ally who is also eyeing a potential bid for governor in 2026. Gaetz tweeted, "I will not surrender," Sunday night, in response to reports that Donalds was on a House GOP conference call outlining a proposed 30-day continuing resolution to avoid a government shutdown. Other Republicans eyeing a bid include State Agriculture Commissioner Wilton Simpson. That sounds like an agricultural commissioner in the Republican Party of Florida. Wilton Simpson. Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Patronis. That sounds like a mafia boss. U.S. Representative Mike Waltz. Kind of fancy dancing. And State Attorney General Ashley Moody. Ashley could be a guy or a girl, but Ashley might be Moody. Okay. So that's the Matt Gaetz angle of things. How is it going to play out? We shall see. Gates of Wrath. Yes. Can't find a better man. Can't find John Fetterman. Nah. People at the office used to go to work barfing up a lung in the 90s. That was a bit extreme, but I feel like people are soft now. Referencing what we were talking about with the medicine. Okay. All right. Well, that's the topics that I have for today's show. We're the New American Media because the old American media has failed you. Follow us in the places on Instagram, The New American Media. We put good stuff there. Telegram, TNAM and TNAM chat, The New American Media. TNAM and TNAM chat on Telegram. On Facebook, do a search, parentheses, The Agree to Disagree Show, parentheses. See if it comes up. Private group. Say, how did you find this group? Say, Brian sent me. Go to youtube.com/The New American Media, because that has 1,700 videos over 12 years. And you could help us by playing some of our older videos. Go to like some of our most watched videos and start scrolling down. Play an old show that you've never heard from 12 years ago. Let it play in the background. It helps our algorithm. You know, while you're cleaning, while you're working on a side hustle, play it in the background. It boosts those numbers. We are trying to get our monetization back. Although, like I said, you see Russell Brand get his demonetized without any convictions of any charges or anything. So it's just, I don't consider YouTube to be a reliable business partner, but I'd still prefer to be monetized there again. So youtube.com/The New American Media. Go to Spotify. That's our podcast, The Agree to Disagree Show. And I'll probably be uploading 2 episodes very soon of the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. So there's that. Rumble. Go to Rumble and subscribe, follow us, like us, share content there, and let our shows play there if you've missed any previous shows. The New American Media on Rumble. On X, we're at American_media_, and on Truth, we are The New American Media. So I am signing out. Thank you, Kenneth and Dreamer and everyone who participated. To Blake, he's at TV's Blake Walley on Twitter, and thenextlevelnews.com. So until next time, we plan to go live again, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday. I appreciate you. I love you. We'll talk to you again soon.